It's Thanksgiving Eve, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I guess that'd be it.
You got your turkey?
I'm more of a ham guy.
Oh, okay. All right.
What is your favorite? I'm a pumpkin pie type guy.
No, I like sweet potato pie. You can't go wrong with sweet potato pie.
We're like 10 seconds in. It's already gone off the rails.
Yep.
This is the Gadsden Times Kickoff Show. I'm Teddy Couch. This is Kevin Taylor. We got quarterfinals football coming up this weekend.
Yes, we do. It's everybody's 2-0 and looking to go 5-0 if they end up wanting to get the big blue trophy in Auburn. And we've got two Etowah County teams still alive in the playoffs, kind of as we pretty well expected. Hoax Bluff and Etowah, which have been ranked in the top 5 in the state throughout the entire year. And, you know, it's kind of expected to see these two playing in the quarterfinals this Friday night. And, of course, you know, last week these teams had to overcome some real tough tracks in terms of football fields were concerned because they were just hit with a lot of rain. And according to the weatherman, or weather lady, if you will, we're going to see a good bit of rain again this Friday night. Local forecast is calling for about a 30 to 35% chance of rain. And the temperature's hovering around 45 degrees at kickoff, and then by about 10 o'clock, 100% chance of rain, and still right about 45 degrees. So it's going to be a chilly night. This is going to pretty well, I mean, if you've got a good offensive line and a good running back, this is maybe your night.
Right. And, you know, the thing is, these teams have already had to deal with these kind of field conditions in the first 2 rounds, but it didn't rain really those first 2 games, so that adds another aspect to it.
Yeah, it really does. Now, having played in the rain, it's fun, but when it comes to these type conditions and when it comes at this point in a season where it matters the most, you know, as a coach, as a player, you really want to have good field conditions, and you don't want to see anybody get hurt or anything like that. So, you know, Friday nights they're going to play in the slop. You know, just be prepared. You're going to play in the slop, but you know, this is where you're going to find find out a lot about your football team too. You know, how bad do they want it, and knowing the 2 teams in Etowah County, they want it, and they want it bad.
I think the good thing, you know, I guess if there is a positive thing about the rain, you know, both Michael Robertson Stadium, I still got to get used to saying that, Coach Rob, certainly is different. And then Jim Glover Stadium, you know, they didn't play there last week.
Right.
So that's a good thing.
Yes.
I don't know what they're going to do in Jasper Friday night, but this is going to be the 3rd straight week that they're playing over at that stadium, and that field was terrible last week.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got situations like that, and at least it's, you know, starting out wise, it's not going to be like a Jasper situation. At least the field's going to be in good enough condition. Now, by the time that's, you know, second half starts up, it's
Swiss
not going to be. But, you know, hey, at least it's not going to start out that way.
Looking ahead to the quarterfinal matchups, let's quickly just run down through them. In Class 1A, Lynette will be at Maplesville. St. Luke's Episcopal will be at Linden. Mars Hill Bible at South Lamar, and Spring Garden at Pickens County. In Class 2A, Luverne will be at Leroy. Ayrton at Highland Home. Ohatchee at Fife in the battle of 2 undefeated teams. Aliceville at Addison. And then in Class 3A, Flomaton goes to Pike County. Gordo goes to Providence Christian down in Dothan. Westminster Christian 11-0 at Piedmont. And then Sachs at Randolph County down in Wedowee. So 2 teams that obviously know each other very well because they're both region foes.
Right. You know, not surprised to us at all. We were kind of wondering if it'd be Weaver, Piedmont, and then Sachs, Randolph County, and it came close to that happening.
Yeah. Class 4A, Andalusia goes to Hillcrest Evergreen. American Christian goes to UMS Wright, another battle of undefeated. American Christian comes in 12-0, UMS Wright 11-0. Good Hope goes to Aniana, and then Deschler 7-5 at 11-1 Hoax Bluff.
It's going to be a fun one. You know, the other side, where you got Good Hope and Aniana is on fire right now.
They really are.
Scored 59 points last week, and
yeah,
when a team gets on a roll like that, it's scary to have to go there too.
Yeah, you're right. Class 5A, Greenville goes to Ramsey over at Lawson Field in Birmingham. Viger at Demopolis. Central Clay comes to Etowah, and then Mortimer Jordan at Jasper.
Yeah, that one's interesting too, because Central Clay, that 2 of their 3 losses came to Mortimer Jordan and Jasper. So that's kind of an interesting aspect.
Yeah.
They haven't lost to. It's not like the teams they've lost to aren't good. 2 of the 3 are still alive and still going strong.
Yep. Class 6A, Opelika goes to Saraland. Spanish Fort goes to Wetumpka. Pinson Valley at Homewood, and then Oxford at Clay Chalkville. Then in Class 7A, you have the semifinals, and that'll be Robert E. Lee versus Central Phoenix City, and then Thompson at Hoover at the Hoover Met. So some great football games coming up Friday night. The ones that we're most concerned about, Deschler at Hoax Bluff, and then, of course, Clay Central at Etowah. Etowah still undefeated, 12-0, the only undefeated team in 5A. Still say it. They are the team to beat to end up getting to Auburn. Laying in wait, I have a feeling it's going to be Viger on the other side in the South bracket.
Absolutely. I know Etowah's not going to be overlooking Clay Central, especially with Danny Horn being the head coach.
No.
So just looking at his resume earlier today, it's so impressive. 6 state championships. The man knows how to get football teams to win football games. So.
With the win last week over Madison Academy, 44-19 win over Madison Academy, Danny picked up his 296th career head coaching victory in the Alabama High School Athletic Association. So, yeah, he knows how to win.
Yeah,
and, I know the folks in Ashland are glad to have him back home.
Absolutely. This is a dangerous football game for Etowah.
It really is.
I know we'll dive in more to it here in a little bit, but this is one that Etowah, and I know that they obviously know how tough opponent's going to be, but this is going to be a tough one for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. If you got any questions or comments in regards to the playoffs coming up, please feel free to chime in, and if you got any questions, we'll do our very best to answer them for you. This strong week of football, the weather definitely is going to play a factor. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, with 100% chance of rain, and then of course hovering about 45 degrees. It's going to be some tough sledding, especially by the second half of the football game when those fields get chopped up.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one. And, like I said, these teams have dealt with these conditions the past 2 weeks, but now you add that extra aspect of rain actually coming down during the game now. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be some sloppy play and fumbles. Turnovers could be a problem in this game.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Then, of course, looking ahead at the playoff matchups, what I like right now is, okay, let's take 30 seconds. We're going to take a quick timeout. We got to get a few things adjusted real fast, and then we'll be right back to you. Welcome back. Sorry about that. We're just having a few technical difficulties, but as always, Mark Golden is the best man in show business, and he knows how to iron things out, Teddy. So we're in good hands.
Yeah, he's all right, I guess. He's not too bad.
Oh, okay.
Josh, by the way, says if Etowah wins, he said he believes they'll be against Clay Central. They'll be at home for the semifinals. So that'd be big for them.
That sounds about right, Josh. I think, as a matter of fact, I'm almost 100% sure you're right about that. Who do you like on the other side of that North?
I haven't.
Final?
I don't know too much about Mortimer Jordan, but seeing Jasper last week, I want to see them on a football field that's not so sloppy.
Right.
Because I feel like their offense could be pretty dangerous. So I'm going to say Jasper coming out of that. I know a little bit more about them, so I guess it's kind of tough for me to really say, but I'm going to go with Jasper on that side.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I don't know very much about Mortimer Jordan. I don't think they really have that much of a track record when it comes to the playoffs. Really, in Jasper, just at first blush, I don't think they really do either.
If I'm not mistaken, I want to say them advanced to the quarterfinals last week. That was the first time in 10 years they've made it to the quarterfinals.
Yeah. So yeah, and then of course in the southern end of the bracket, Greenville goes to Ramsey, Viger goes to Demopolis. I really see a Viger Ramsey semifinal match in the South bracket, if you want to call it a South bracket, especially when you consider Ramsey. Ramsey's just on the back doorstep there in Birmingham. So, but yeah, they're in the South region. But I really see a Ramsey Viger semifinal match next week. I think those two teams are head and shoulders above those other two in the South bracket.
What do you think about Clay Central and Etowah?
Clay Central, Etowah, the one thing I know about a Danny Horn coach football team is that they're going to run the ball, they're going to punish you, and they're going to keep punishing you until you give up. And that, in a way, plays right into Etowah's hands, because we're talking about a defense that averages giving up, a little less than 25 yards a game. Right. Rushing.
They've only given up 2 rushing touchdowns all season long.
So, obviously, Danny's going to have to open up the offense, and they're going to have to be able to throw the ball. How well are you going to be able to throw the ball and slop like what we're probably going to see Friday night? I don't know. So, it'll be interesting to see. Number one, how well will they be able to run the ball? But then number two, how well will Etowah's defense be able to move from sideline to sideline in that slop as well?
Right.
So I'm sure we'll see a few passes here or there. We may see a few trick plays too. I wouldn't be surprised.
Field position is going to be key in this one. That's something that Coach Drew Knowles over at Etowah stressed to me, that field position, especially in the slot they're going to have Friday night.
And special teams will be a big part of it Friday night.
And, he said, last week they were able to go up those 2 scores. They got conservative. I had a couple people commenting that Etowah's run the same play over and over again. Well, that was the plan, to be conservative. They got that lead, and they wanted to play into the hands of that defense, let them win the game for them. He said he knew with those conditions last week, that's what they were going to have to do. Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be more of the same this week. If they can go up, when you got a defense like that, you can't blame them for wanting to play to the strength of that defense.
Well, and I'm sure Danny too is aware of Nana Davis, especially since he blocked 2 punts to set up 2 touchdowns last week in Etowah's win over Center Point. So you're going to have to watch that rush man if you're going to punt. And somebody as dangerous as Nana Davis is, you're going to have to really keep a keen eye on him. Now, if that's to one side, who you got rushing from the other side coming in? So there's a lot of variables out there, but I really have a feeling that special teams, turnovers, field position, that's what's going to decide this football game.
Patrick says offense has a score, yeah, that's true. Maybe the defense could score, or maybe special teams could score for me. The way Etowah plays, who knows? But yeah, offense is eventually going to have to punch in the end zone.
Yeah.
And I would imagine we're going to see Trent and Nana and Reggie Phillips run the ball a whole lot for the Blue Devils.
Yep.
And also defensively, Etowah could be without Justin Harris. He is officially day-to-day with that shoulder injury. Not sure if he'll be playing yet Friday night or not. But Coach Drew Knowles said that they will have. If he's not able to go, you could see Emil Smith, who's played defense there the past 3 years, hasn't played defense as much this year, but he knows what he's doing. Or you have Trent Davis or DeAndre Williams. So 3 great athletes.
Oh, wow.
to stick right there if you need them.
Oh, darn.
You don't want to lose a Vanderbilt commit, Justin Harris, but if you have to lose them, that's 3 great athletes that you have in a spot if need be. So that's just something we'll have to wait and see how that develops, whether he'll be out there Friday night or not. But as of right now, Justin Harris is day-to-day.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have. I'll have to say that. When you've got a Vanderbilt commit who goes down and is probable, and then you've got you've got these other 3 guys who are athletes all in themselves. Yeah, that's a great problem to have. I'll tell you.
We know Emil's going to be signing somewhere. You know, he's got some big offers. I want to say DeAndre Williams has some offers himself. I don't know how, you know, where to exactly, but I think he's got some interest anyways.
Yeah.
And then we all know how athletic Trent Davis is. So good options to have if you do.
Oh yeah, not bad at all.
With Clay Central, you're just looking at them. Like I said earlier in the show, 2 of their losses are to the teams on the other side of that North quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're battle tested, and as you said with the pedigree of Danny Horn, this is going to be a tough task for Etowah. But I think it's hard to go against the defense. I know we say it every week; it's a broken record, but it's hard to go against that Etowah defense.
Yeah.
You got to think that kind of this field, the way there is, that kind of plays into the hands of that Etowah defense in a way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, like I said, I know Danny's going to try to run the ball and he's going to try to pound the ball at Etowah, and you know, I do know that Central, Clay Central does have a number of really great athletes down there, and so they won't hang their hat too much on running the ball. They will try to throw the ball here and there. They're not like some teams that just they may throw it once or twice, and that may be a season fife. But yeah, they'll definitely put it up in the air a couple times just to test the defensive backfield, and I just think that there's just too much Etowah, too much defense there. I could see this game ended up being a 14-12 game, and Etowah coming out on top.
One thing to watch for Etowah as well, just the way they play on defense, I don't know. It's hard to go against that. Like we said, it's just really hard to go against them defensively there. But offensively, I mean, they're going to have to keep on the ground, and they've kind of gotten better there. But it's interesting to see how because like Patrick said, they're going to have to score, and how do they do that?
Yeah.
Maybe the defense can force a turnover. They can get some block punts and get some short fields. They're going to need short fields, I think.
I think you're going to see a scoop and score. I think you're going to probably see a turnover. You're going to see a fumble, and somebody pick it up, and they're going to scoop and score.
Maybe Dericky can add to his collection of pick sixes
or
defensive touchdowns he's had this year.
Or even Jamin Graham with fumble returns for touchdowns. I mean, that kid, gee whiz.
Yeah. 2 against Gadsden City to start the season.
Yeah.
So.
Let's turn a page, go to Class 4A. Andalusia at Hillcrest Evergreen. Hillcrest, they were winners of the Class 3A championship last year. They moved up to 4A, and they're back in the playoffs and in the quarterfinals. They play against an opponent they know all too well, which is Andalusia. And then American Christian, undefeated at 12-0, goes to UMS Wright at 11-0 in the South region. I see Hillcrest and UMS Wright playing in the semifinal. I really think UMS Wright has things going well for them. I see UMS Wright coming to Auburn.
I mean, I remember I looked through their schedule the other day, and just staggering how many points they've given up this year. I want to say it was like 29 or something like that for the whole season.
Right.
I think the most they've given up in a game is 8 points. That was the first round of the playoffs. My goodness, that is unbelievable, really. Yeah. It's pretty mind-blowing.
UMS Wright is coached by soon-to-be Hall of Fame coach Terry Curtis. Terry picked up his 600th victory as a head coach in Alabama last week with their win in the second round of the playoffs. So, again, you talk about strong pedigree as far as coaching is concerned. Terry Curtis, Danny Horn, I mean, these guys they're Hall of Fame coaches.
Right, for sure.
Then in the North bracket, then you've got Good Hope, 11-1 at Aniana. Aniana's playing really good football right now, maybe one of the hotter teams in 4A. I don't think anybody really saw them coming this far. Then Deschler, 7-5 at Hoax Bluff. Hoax Bluff was on the road, won a big ball game against North Jackson held Lee Witherspoon, who was coming in. He had the state record for most rushing touchdowns in the season, and Hoax Bluff ended up limiting him to 91 yards on 18 carries, no touchdowns in the 33-13 win over them. Now, Lee did go down with an injury in the first half and did not return for the remainder of the game. So, hopefully things are good with him. Hope he's okay. And hope it wasn't anything too serious, because I mean, he's tremendous back. He'll definitely come up in discussion probably for 4A back of the year.
I know it's playoffs and this doesn't matter right now, but does that put Darren in the driver's seat, you feel like, for 4A back?
4A back of the year, yeah. I mean, if you see, with Meade still trucking right along, last week 180 yards rushing, 4 rushing touchdowns, 5 for the game. He ended up with a pick-6 return. So, I think now he's definitely in the driver's seat for 4A back of the year.
Yeah, great running back, and you always got a chance number 6 back there toting the ball for you, and I think Hoax Bluff's obviously got a good chance again against this week against Deschler. 7-5, do not let that fool you.
Really?
You got to look at who they lost to. They lost to 6A Muscle Shoals, who got put out in the second round against Pinson Valley. Then they lost to 5A Russellville, who got put out in the first round against Center Point, who Etowah beat last week. Then they lost to 5A Jasper, who was still alive. Then they lost to 4A Brooks, who lost to Aniana in the first round. And then they also lost to Elkmont, who they actually beat 65-0, but they ended up having to forfeit that game because they had a player transfer in, if I'm understanding right, but he wasn't inside of the the city limits, so they had to forfeit that one game. But I doubt that one player was the reason they won 65-0. So,
no, hardly. Not hardly.
It's not like they're playing slouches. They've lost to good football teams, and I think the big key for Hoax Bluff here, they're coming off that win 33-13 at North Jackson, undefeated football teams. Not hard to have to get your kids up for a game like that.
Yeah.
Then you're having to play a 7-5 football team. How tough is it to keep a team up, coming off a win like that, then to play a team that 7-5 record don't look the best. I mean, that could be a tough task. Yeah.
Well, and you get this deep in the playoffs, these records right here, they don't mean anything. They mean absolutely nothing, because if you're this deep into the playoffs, you're good.
You don't accidentally end up in the quarterfinals.
No, you don't. Not at all. Not at all. And and then with Hoax Bluff coming in 11-1 and playing in the conditions that they're going to play in Friday night, the task is who's got the better offensive line, Deschler or Hoax Bluff. So wow. Obviously, Hoax Bluff's offensive line, they had some kids graduate, last year. So we all wondered, okay, how is this offensive line going to come along, and is Meade's going to be able to do the same thing that he did last year? And, well, it just, Coach Rob just is plugging in players. And every time that he's plugging them in, they're working.
Meade's at 2,500 yards, 32 touchdowns, averaging 9.6 yards a carry, 210 a game, 2.7 touchdowns a game. I have to say they're doing all right. In terms of keeping the kids motivated, this isn't Coach Rob's first rodeo.
No, not at all.
This is his 23rd football season coaching with Hoax Bluff. As a head coach, I mean, he's been there even longer as an assistant.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Coach Rob knows what he's doing. He'll have those kids ready, but I'd imagine that could be a tough task. A lot of the kids, they see that, hey, Hoax Bluff's picked to win. Look at that 4A North. You're crazy if you don't think Hoax Bluff's the favorite to go to Auburn. Let's just be honest with each other.
Yeah.
The kids hear this kind of stuff. Does that go to the head? You have to try to keep them grounded and just say, hey, we still got football to play.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
So it's just interesting to see how that aspect goes. And, also with kids been out of school this week.
Yeah.
Does that play a factor for, all the teams playing?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it really does, Teddy, because, you get that week off for Thanksgiving, and you got kids going here, they're going to grandma's house, they're going all over this, and then also, they've got to keep their practices together. a lot of the coaches will end up practicing early in the day and not toward the end of the evening. So a lot of things get changed up this week. And, you know, being an old-timer like I am, I think I would want to keep the schedule the same way it has been rather than, you know, practicing at 9 o'clock in the morning or something like that, where you have not been doing that for these past 10, 12 weeks, you know, now that school's in session. Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're going to practice at 9 o'clock, so then that way Johnny can go to grandma's house and all this and go eat turkey and all that good kind of stuff. Things just get all discombobulated. So, you know, if it was me, no, I'm sorry, you know, hate it, Grandma, but Johnny's going to practice at 3 o'clock just like he has before, and we're just going to stick to the same routine, because anytime you get out of a routine, something's going to happen. But there again, you know, Rob's been doing this for 23 years. You know, I haven't coached a lick of football, so, you know, I don't know what I'm talking about.
And
but I will
he's
say,
an old timer. Notice he said that. We have video proof that he said he's an old timer. So I do like that we have that.
But I will say this: whenever you get out of that, routine, it will kind of shake you up a little bit. So you know, I'll be interested to see how teams play, and I'll be interested to see how teams also react to, especially if it's supposed to rain like there is forecast. I'll be interested to see how players react to that. Some love it. Others, no. They're ready to get out of the rain. They're ready to go to the house.
Well, it's kind of interesting to me, too. I mean, we really haven't had any rain this week. You know, the last few weeks preparing, we've had rain all week long. So, you know, kids, you can't really avoid it. You know, it's going to be muddy out there. It hasn't been as muddy this week.
No.
So I wonder if that makes a difference, too, in terms of not, you know, playing on a pretty clean field compared to what you've been playing on. Now Friday night, it's looking like it's going to be pretty sloppy.
Yeah. I don't know. Then looking around to some of the area teams that are going to be playing Friday night, Sacs goes to Randolph County. Sacs 10-1, Randolph County 11-1, and then Westminster Christian 11-0 at Piedmont 10-2. I really think we're going to see a Piedmont Randolph County semifinal. You know, Piedmont, they're tried and true. Steve Smith knows what to do. I mean, this guy, if anybody knows how to win in the playoffs, Steve Smith knows how to win in the playoffs. He's right up there with Terry Curtis. He's right up there with Danny Horn. If this guy, before it's all said and done, will be a Hall of Famer. And if he's not, something's really wrong somewhere.
Piedmont's 10-2. If I hear, you know, somebody that's that covers Piedmont, or not necessarily cover them, but close by, watches them play a good bit, you hear, oh, Piedmont's good this year, but they're not as good as they have been.
Yeah.
They're 10-2.
Yeah.
You're doing something right if you're not as good as you typically are, and you're 10-2.
Right.
And you're probably the favorite to go to Auburn. Let's face it. Hey, you're there all the time. Look, I'm going against Piedmont. I'm picking Piedmont until somebody beats them, because they know how to win ball games.
Yeah. They really do. And at this point in the playoffs, I'm going to favor a team that's been there time in, time out. And so I'm going to go with Piedmont. I think they're going to knock out Westminster Christian. I think it's going to be a 2-touchdown game. Sacs at Randolph County. Sacs just got a lot of athletes. But going to Randolph County, I think even Sacs is going to be down 7 points as soon as they get off the bus in Wedowee, because that's a tough place to play. Mm-hmm. So I think with Randolph County playing at home, I have to give Randolph County the nod there, and I think they're going to end up winning by 4 points.
Speaking of teams that win football games a lot in the playoffs, Fife-Ohatchee.
Wow.
Fife knows how to win football. They are the Alabama Crimson Tide of Class 2A.
Yeah, they really are. They really are. 12-0, hosting Ohatchee Friday night in one quarterfinal. On the other side, laying in wait will either be Aliceville or Addison. well, sorry Aliceville, sorry Addison. It doesn't matter. I think whoever wins here is going to go to Auburn. I think Fife playing at home, they're playing extremely just great football. Now, however, Peyton Anderson did go down with an ankle injury in the 35-0 win over Colbert County. So how solid is that ankle? And given the slot that they're going to play in Friday night, they're going to need somebody like a Peyton Anderson to tote the mail for them. But I do know one thing. Fife doesn't have just one running back. They usually have a host of running backs. So if Peyton Anderson can't get the job done, it's going to be basically, like you said, it's Alabama, next man up, next man up, next man up. And so
every year, I mean, obviously Peyton Anderson's been doing this for a little while now for Fife, but Fife's produced a lot of all-state running backs.
They really have.
I mean, and Peyton Anderson's a great one. I'm not saying that he's not, but whoever's running back usually produces for that football team. Now, at the same time, though, you're asking a kid to come up and step up and produce more at a pretty big-time stage against a really good football team and undefeated Ohatchee.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty tough. But, Fife's, that's just, they always produce. It's hard to go against Fife.
Having seen Fife play, and I haven't seen them this year, but I have seen them in years past, and I know a Paul Benefield football team has a strong offensive line that just loves to pound it at you. And having seen Ohatchee play, and I have seen them this year, I just don't know whether Ohatchee's going to be able to hold up. Their defensive line is going to take some punishment because of a Fife's offensive line. And then when Peyton Anderson gets behind his shoulder pads, that's a tough dude to take down.
Yeah. So you going with Fife then?
Well, I was thinking about yeah, I'm going with Fife.
Even if, let's say, Anderson is out, you still feel confident in Fife?
I think if Anderson plays, Fife wins by 21. If Anderson doesn't play, Fife wins by 14.
So you still at least by 2 scores.
Yeah,
I'm going with Fife regardless as well. It's just hard to go against them one way or the other.
In the southern bracket, you've got Luverne at Leroy and then Ayrton at Highland Home. I'm really surprised. Highland Home, I know that area very well. I'm kind of surprised to see the Flying Squadron where they are, being at 11-1 and playing at home against the Purple Cats of Ayrton. And then Luverne, 11-1 at Leroy. Luverne has traditionally been a strong player in the playoffs these last few years. I really see a Luverne-Highland Home semifinal coming up. I just think that those two teams are the class of the southern region, and so whoever wins between, I think whoever wins between Ayrton and Highland Home, that's going to be the team that ends up in Auburn.
Speaking of Auburn, I don't think we can sign off without, I know this is a high school football show, but I don't know if you realize there's a kind of a big football game going on Saturday. I think it's called the Iron Bowl.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Georgia Tech, Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh, Iron Bowl.
We have to give Iron Bowl predictions.
Okay.
I think before we sign off. So I'm putting you on the spot. Give me a score. Who you got?
Wow. Alabama's just, they're a machine. They're just an absolute machine. Auburn, there's just so many things going on down there that have got to be fixed in the off season. Number one, they got to find an offensive line. They're still looking for an offensive line, and so I just think that Alabama's just way too strong. I think Alabama ends up winning 28-7.
28-7. I'm gonna go Alabama 42, Auburn 14.
Wow. Yeah.
They're so good. I mean, it's tough to go against them. It's tough to imagine them not winning by a large margin. I know this is a game where typically you can throw records out of the window, but this is a this is just a really good Alabama football team right now.
Yeah.
And then also JSU hosting the first round against East Tennessee State. JSU, oh my goodness, that game.
This is a little bit odd, Teddy, that we're talking about JSU in the playoffs this early in.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, or at least the years that we've been here, JSU's typically been opening up playoff play in the second round because they've earned that first round bye. Losing that, wow, what a game. 5 overtime loss to number 2 Kennesaw State, and then ended up getting bumped into the first round playoffs. East Tennessee State, I feel sorry for you. I really do, because you're going to face a very determined, very angry Jacksonville State team, because they know that they should have beaten Kennesaw last week.
So, and I think losing that game in a weird way is a good thing for Jacksonville State, because in the last 4, I think they've had the first round bye the last 4 years. 3 of those they were 1 and done.
Yeah.
You know, for some reason that bye week's just been kind of weird for JSU. They just haven't handled it well.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I like their draw on that south part of the FCS bracket, because that top half is loaded.
Yeah.
So if they win this, they'll have to go to number 7 seed Maine, and I think JSU takes care of business Saturday.
Oh yeah, I think they absolutely do. I think you'll see JSU take care of business against East Tennessee State. They're going to end up beating East Tennessee State by at least 14 points. They're going to go to Maine, and I don't care. It may be 32 below zero up there in Maine, but JSU's going to take care of business, and they're going to end up in the third, or at least the third round of the playoffs.
So not much argument here on the Gadsden Times Kickoff Show today.
Nope.
College-wise, we both got JSU, we both got Alabama, and then high school, we both have Etowah and Hokes Bluff moving on.
Who do you like, Georgia Tech?
Georgia.
I'm going to go with Tech. Who do you like, South Carolina, Clemson?
Clemson.
I'm going to go with Clemson as well. So.
Mark Golden has Alabama beating Auburn 42-9.
9. Wow. Yeah. Okay. I could see that. I could see Auburn not being able to get in the end zone and just, you know, kick nothing but field goals. That's kind of been SOP for Auburn this year. Is you get inside the red zone and they just can't punch it in the end zone. Actually, that's been kind of the story for Auburn for the last 2 years.
I guess I say it being like 40-9 because like Alabama missing 2 extra points or something, because
yeah,
some kind of weird score like
that.
So.
Yeah, 40-9. I could, yeah. Well, folks, I'd love to see your predictions of the Iron Bowl, and please go to the Gadsden Times Facebook page. You see it right there, and please chime in. I'd love to see your predictions. Let's see who comes the closest. Patrick, I want to see your Iron Bowl prediction.
Yeah, and hopefully this Friday night, by the way, we came on very late last week, but we're going to try to come on earlier. We should be. We have both county teams at home. We're going to go, like I say, I'll be at 5 for Ohatchee, 5, and we'll have somebody in Piedmont. But we should be able to come on earlier this week.
Hope so.
Make sure you check out our show. It'll be on Facebook. You can watch a replay, and you can also watch it on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
And we're hoping we'll come live around
11, we hope.
We're hoping, 11:30 at the latest is what we're shooting for. So make sure you join us. We want to hear your comments and thoughts on the game, and we'll give you ours. We appreciate you joining us tonight.
We thank you for your time. Our time is out. We thank you again for yours. We'll see you down the road.